Welcome to the Startup Sales Accelerator. I'm excited to have you here and help you figure out sales for your startup. So what we're going to be covering are what to expect in this course, using the workbooks, best practices, and communicating with me. So let's talk about what you can expect in this course. So the Startup Sales Accelerator is broken into 3 phases that are going to take you through the different stages that an early stage startup goes through when they're figuring out how to build a sales program. So phase 1 is all about figuring out how to sell. So we're going to understand what selling is, and then we're going to go test a bunch of different things to figure out what works and what doesn't work to sell your offering to your market. Phase 2 is making sales scalable. So we're going to take everything we've learned in phase 1 and turn those into systems and processes that future reps can use to be successful so that every sales hire in your startup isn't a gamble. And then phase 3 is going to be all around delegating sales. How do we actually bring in those next reps and get the founder out of selling so they can go solve bigger problems in the startup? So phase 1, the goal of phase 1 is to figure out how to sell your company's unique offering so you can grow revenue and afford to hire salespeople. So we're going to talk about basic fundamentals of sales and how you can figure out what works and what doesn't. So what we'll cover is your sales foundation, prospecting, sales 101, which is pitching and closing, overcoming sales resistance, and copywriting. So after watching these modules, you'll be ready to start selling, and you should have a lot of valuable information that'll help you sell better and start testing what's going to work and figure out what doesn't work when selling to your market. And then after that, you can move on to phase 2 as quickly as you'd like. So as soon as you finish everything in phase 1, it's never going to hurt you to move on to phase 2 and start building processes, because not only will that benefit all the future salespeople in your org, but it should also help making selling easier for you and help you sell better. So moving into phase 2, the goal of phase 2 is to help you take the work that you've done in selling and what you've learned and make that scalable. Like we said, building systems and processes around everything that we've done. So what we'll cover is creating transferable market expertise, sales process creation, additional sales planning, and then making your sales playbook. So all of the resources we'll be building are designed to help the next reps ramp faster and make sales easier for them so that they don't have to go through that same process of figuring everything out that you're already going through. And then you'll be ready to move on to phase 3 when you're ready to make your first sales hires. So after you've gone through and built all these resources, continue selling until you're ready to make those sales hires, and then phase 3 is there ready for you. And then what we'll be covering in phase 3, the goal of phase 3 is to give you the tools that you need to successfully delegate sales. So hiring, onboarding, and management. So what we'll cover is hiring preparation, everything that we need to do leading up to actually making that sales hire, hiring and onboarding. So how do we actually hire and onboard that early sales reps, how early sales reps can self-manage, early sales management for the founders, and then growing your team. Next, we'll talk about using workbooks. So one of the things I'm most proud of in this course are the workbooks and templates that I've built. Every other online course that I've taken, I've felt like I've gotten really valuable information, but then I kind of have to figure out on my own how to take that information and put it into practice. So I want to make that really easy for you in the Startup Sales Accelerator.
So when this course was originally recorded, it was a paid course. People would pay hundreds of dollars to get access to everything, and the workbooks came included. Now that you're getting this for free on Spotify or YouTube, the workbooks are the only thing that are paid, and those are just $35. So if you come to revliftoff.com, you can scroll down here and get the Startup Sales Accelerator Workbooks for $35. If you click this, it'll take you to a checkout, and then right after you finish this checkout, this Google Drive folder will make a copy and send it over to you. And then you're free to edit these. Those are yours to work with. You'll have edit access to all of these documents in the Startup Sales Accelerator resources folder. You don't need them to go through this course, but I spent a lot of time making these just to make that process easier, so you don't have to bridge that gap of going from here's the information in the course to here's how to apply it. This makes it seamless, and you'll see me use these workbooks every time. So if you're wondering how to access those, this is how you access it just on revliftoff.com. That's revliftoff.com. And here I'll get back into explaining how to use those workbooks.
And then when you're working in these workbooks, only edit the blue text, do not edit the black text. So here's an example here from our market expertise workbook. All this black text are things that are either formulas or just set information. and the blue text is going to be what you're filling in and working on. Best practices for this course. So best practices, a lot of people ask how to go through this course. They see a ton of information and then feel overwhelmed on how to go through everything. So this course was designed sequentially. Unless if you're jumping in and you already have a first sales rep, you as a founder can go through phase 1, 2, 3 in order. And so in phase 1, I recommend watching through all the material while you work on figuring out your unique sales motion. So figuring out, what you need to do to close deals, open up new opportunities, get people interested, and get people buying. So watch that material while you're doing your sales activity and revisit that information as needed. And then in phase 2, I recommend completing the workbook associated with each lesson before moving on to the next lesson. So in phase 2, most every lesson is going to have a workbook and some kind of homework that you'll do to actually go and create the sales process or plan that we're talking about. So I recommend doing those before moving on to the next lesson, because very often these lessons do build off each other. And then in phase 3, watch through the material and use the provided resources as needed. So phase 3 is really all about hiring, onboarding, and managing. So in that phase 3, watch through everything and then use that material as you get to those stages. And that's the end of the introduction. I'll see you in phase 1. I'm excited to help you figure out sales.
So at the end of each of these videos that I upload, now this is 4 years since I originally recorded this course. So I'm just going to give quick commentary on the things that I talk about in each video, any updates or things I've learned on the way that I would change going back now without having to re-record everything in this course. So on the intro, there's not really much that's going to change since we were just talking about what's actually in the course. And then finally here, if there are any things that you want additional help with, extra questions, head to revliftoff.com. That's revliftoff.com that you can see here. Down on the How I Can Help section, we have this free Startup Accelerator sales course that you're looking at right now. We have the workbooks for just $35, so you can implement everything I teach throughout this course. And then if you want some extra help, one-on-one sessions, if you have questions about anything in a specific module, you want help implementing that, or you just want some coaching on sales, anything like that, I'm available for 60 or 30-minute calls to jump on and help you work things out. Thanks much and good luck.